Hi all, you are watching a fragment of the Countdown program from March 6, 2023. Today is Monday. See the full version on Patreon. And thanks to everyone who is becoming our patrons right now. The war, having turned into a protracted campaign, is already breaking the structure of the Kremlin vertical. Moreover, by the hands of those on whom the dictator had a special hope. In this war, Putin has already tried almost everything. Even the latest heavy-duty bomb, UPOB 1500 volts, weighing 1.5 tons, went into action. It belongs to gliders, is equipped with an inertial and satellite navigation system and has a warhead weighing 1010 kilograms, designed to destroy highly protected targets at a distance of up to 40 kilometers. But even she did not terrify the Ukrainians, who were motivated to completely cleanse the country of the rashest filth, and the very development of the situation, as it were, hints that waging war by conventional means will not bring success to Putin. And this APU has not yet begun to attack with the Challengers and Leopards. From the realization of the coming defeat, it blows the roof off those on whom the leader made a special bet. Prigozhin, in another fit of self-promotion, again lashed out with angry criticism at the generals, warning that if his PMCs were finished off by the Shoigu like from the Ministry of Defense, then the entire front would fall down, right up to the Russian borders. Because that cementing basis of criminal scumbags, on which everything rests, will be destroyed. And by the way, Bald is not far from the truth. Crime is the basis of this criminal war, and it is quite reasonable that everything rests on it. But Prigozhin did not stop there and went even further, calling on the residents of St. Petersburg to protest against Governor Biglov. But this is already an attempt to raise a riot on the sinking Titanic. The upper deck is already shaking, and the rats are nauseated, and here is also a bald concrete mixer with an ideological sledgehammer at the ready. According to Prigozhin, after Bakhmut, PMC Wagner should turn from just a private, best in the world, army capable of defending the state, into an army with an ideology. The ideology is as simple as 3 rubles, the struggle for justice. Ministers come and go, but the Russian people remain, and the Wagner PMC consists of the Russian people, declares Prigozhin. Do you feel what strings were hooked by the frontliner Kagan and how liquid vegetation stirred in the bunker? Criminals armed with a sledgehammer idea are not hipsters from Bolotnaya Square and, moreover, not Navalny's hamsters with paper airplanes and a flashlight under the covers. These can and pull out from under the Kremlin box. It is logical to expect that the bald monster will now be finished off with a vengeance, so that he will never return from under Bakhmut, neither to St. Petersburg, nor anywhere else. His friend Ramzan has suddenly swelled up to such an extent that he is about to explode like a dad, and Ramzan's son, Akhmet, has urgently arrived for a date with Putin. The Goats Roo succession becomes a tradition. Only the uniform was not respected. Ramzan's son did not arrive in a tracksuit. Perhaps the Kremlin changed the dress code. And in Nuremberg, on the same plane that once delivered Navalny to Germany, the attacking singer Nikolai Rastorgev went for treatment, although there are rumors that it was not him who was taken away, but Roldygin or even Patrushev, who had a heart attack. In any case, the backdrop of events around the Kremlin is getting bleaker. The FSB said it had thwarted an assassination attempt on media tycoon Malafeyev, owner of the fascist Tsargrad TV channel. Allegedly, the attempt was planned according to the same scheme as during the murder of Daria Dugina. It was planned to blow up the fascist in the car. The role of the organizer of the failed atrocity was entrusted to Denis Kapustin, actively promoted by the Lubyanka, evil in the flesh and the founder of the Russian Volunteer Corps, who will now be used more and more often, and who has already denied his involvement in the attempt to undermine Malafeyev. Perhaps Bortnikov is trying to smooth over his senile mistakes with such clumsy performances, but his entourage, Korolev, Tchev and others, are literally digging the Moscow soil with their hooves, trying to grab real power. And high-profile rearrangements with the displacement of major figures can occur much earlier than the actual defeat in the war. And while Solovyev rejoices that he didn't catch HIMARS in Ukraine, the cunning propagandist Posner hung in the position of a sprawling cow, like a splayed cow, Between the wrath of the Kremlin and the sanctions of the West. Disgustingly funny. In a word, the vertical sparkles and crackles, the plaster crumbles, forming cracks, however, not yet critical for the regime. But this is before the first offensive actions of the armed forces of Ukraine, which will powerfully shake this structure. Become our patrons now and look further in this program. Biden's urgent hour-long meeting with Scholz leaves no doubt. The collective West is preparing for something very important that the Kremlin should not know about. Prime Minister of Ukraine Denis Shmyhal announced the implementation of all points of the EU recommendations for negotiations on joining the European Union. The ruling Reform Party of Prime Minister Kai Kallas, known for its strong pro-Ukrainian stance, won the elections to the Estonian parliament. It seems that the priest of the FBK Leonid Volkov completely overspending, and began to court the rich livestock. Volkov called for the removal of Western sanctions from Mikhail Friedman and his accomplices, recognizing them as oligarchs neglected. Cultural news. In Lithuania, the audience sent 3 funny letters to the fascist rapper Morgenstern. Previously, he was already sent during a concert in Prague, so he is no stranger. And that is all. See the full version on Patreon. And thanks to everyone who is becoming our patrons right now. Hugs to all. See you on Thursday. Glory to Ukraine.